Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. I think it's time to get started. Welcome to this second webinar. Today, our webinar, it's called How St. Nicholas's Individualized Approach Guides Learners to Make Best Fit Higher Education and Career Choices. Featuring tonight, we have Ms. Liane Vasconcelos, our university's advisor. Thank you, Liane. I'm going to be having a chat with Liane. I'll ask her a few questions. She will be sharing a presentation. We hope that by asking these questions and by having this chat with Liane, many of the very important issues regarding universities' applications will come up. Of course, just like we did in the last webinar, I don't know if you attended, but if you know, the situation is like this. There is a question and answer option. If you can see them there in Zoom, there you can actually write your questions. By the end of the presentation that Liane has prepared, we are going to answer those questions. You don't need to wait until the end of the presentation to actually write a question. If you have anything while the presentation is going on, if there is anything that comes up and you want to ask that question, please write it down so that we can go over as many questions as possible in the time that we have allocated. This webinar, it's 45 minutes, so that you know we'll be finishing by 8:15 today. Like for the last webinar, if we do not have enough time to answer all of the questions, what we're going to do is we're going to get those questions because they're going to be written, they're going to be saved, and then we're going to answer them and we're going to circulate them and to all our participants, just like we did the questions last time. So thank you very much. And I think we should get started. So Liane, again, thank you for being with us. This is, you've already done this. You did this last week. There will be certain things that you said or you hinted at last webinar, and now hope we have time to go into detail. Let me just ask you the following question. How does St. Nicholas's University Advising Program align with our mission and vision? Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Thank you, Marcelo. Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone who has come to the webinar today. It's wonderful to be here, and I hope that I can answer some of your questions, but even afterwards, if you have additional questions, I'm here to answer them too. Answering your question now, Marcelo, I really do believe in St. Nicholas's statement that all of our learners, not just the students themselves, but me, yourself, all of the staff, we are all on a unique learning adventure. I really strongly believe that every individual is unique and we don't have a one size fits all, right? So for that reason, I don't think any doubt why I myself as well believe in the university guidance, making sure that we are helping students get their best fit courses and universities that they should aim for, as opposed to maybe a list of 10 universities for all students, right? It really is about them and them as an individual. So, you know, learner A, and not only the learner themselves, but even their family. And I think that's something that I want to emphasize is when I am working with the students, I'm also working with the families. We're all in this together, right? The needs of one family and the learner are different from another. And it's really important for me to make sure that they are all treated that way. So from the very beginning, I encourage learners to really think about themselves. It's easy at this stage to want to follow maybe some of what your friends are doing, even follow what your family members are doing, right? Because they're all influences in our lives, but they really need to reflect on their own interests, their own strengths, and make choices for themselves. Throughout this process, I'll be asking them questions, especially about the subjects that they enjoy, that they perform the best in. Have you checked out this resource about, this career that you're interested in? Because sometimes a lot of them actually don't know what it entails. Did you know, that medicine is a career that involves many hours of, this week and this many years of study. So, going from careers, I also ask them about the courses that they're interested in, making sure that they read the course descriptions, because one course at one university from another can be quite different. So again, lots of questions, but all of that in order to help them reflect and really help them make the choices that are best fit for themselves. And I think that's why all of our learners have successfully gone on to study in a wide range of courses, universities, and countries around the world. Oops, Marcella, you're on mute.
Thank you, Lian. Yes. Yeah, it's something that we always notice, of course, the variety of universities and choices that they make. It's very interesting. I have another question here for you. Can you talk about the key components of the university advice and curriculum from years 10 to 12, please?
Absolutely. So starting in year 10, this is really a moment where we're exploring careers and courses that they could possibly take at university. The first thing I'll mention is the Moresby profile. This is something that we've actually are just launching this year. It is a worldwide renowned careers assessment for students. So it's not only going to match with careers based on a 2-hour assessment of aptitudes, aspirations, and interests, but they also provide subject and career suggestions and personalized insights. So I'm really excited to have this new tool for our learners to help them further with their career exploration and really finding out what they might want to study at university. We also work with BridgeU Careers, again, another tool that helps them explore different careers and job options, specifically thinking about career trends and demands from the job market, and even salaries that are involved. And the other really important part of year 10 is to make sure that they are guided in their IB subject choices. So in the second semester, they go through IB induction, and I play, I think, an important role in helping make sure that they learn what university requirements are, depending on what they might be interested in studying at university. So for example, a student who wants to study engineering really needs to reflect on and think about taking physics and maths, maybe chemistry. And because the requirements are quite complex and different, we really have to align with what they're interested in doing, but also where they're interested in studying, all together with their own individual strengths and interests. So that's a really, really important part of year 10. Once we get to year 11, this is when they're going to start researching their universities and planning for their applications. I mentioned BridgeU, but I didn't go into detail, but this is our university's guidance tool where they are matching based on their personal profile, anywhere from their grades to preferences in terms of the size of the university, the course that they're interested in. BridgeU has this algorithm and a lot of data to help match universities based on that profile. So it's a really wonderful tool, and it's also helpful for me to then give them suggestions in addition to what BridgeU suggests. They also have on BridgeU a strategy advisor, and this is important because the student will input their experiences that they've had. It could be extracurricular activities, or it could be, a trip that they've had, and try and match them with the attributes and the, I think, components or attitudes that a university is looking for. So if they've done a course online related to their course that they're interested in studying at university, that's going to be one of their strengths. And then they may say after, you've done your report, they may say, okay, I think you need to work on more leadership opportunities, maybe participating in an activity where you can show off more of your leadership skills. So BridgeU is wonderful in supporting our students in the research and planning of their university applications. Finally, in year 12, we are preparing and sending the applications. I forgot to mention that starting from year 10, I am doing individual interviews with the learners in year 11 as well, and with the families. So that contact and those meetings are super important for me to be able to support them throughout. But as I mentioned, in year 12, this is actually when most of our students are applying to universities, because for countries abroad, the process is usually a year in advance. So I am helping the students with feedback on the essays that they may have to write, filling out the actual applications, which oftentimes are not easy. They're long, there's a lot of information. And then of course, post-application, you have to think about how you're going to get your housing, what are you going to do after you get into the university, the visa process. So I do a lot of workshops around those topics. So that makes up an overview of what happens between years 10 and 12.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. It's certainly very labor intensive and occupies quite a lot of time. Thank you.
I forgot, yes.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Next slide, please. So in addition to the curriculum, I just wanted to mention that we host dozens of universities a year for fairs, but also individual presentations. We also have lectures. So we've had representatives ask if they can, share a professor's lecture on data analytics or entrepreneurship. And these are really enriching for our learners, not only to see what a college level class is like, but also get them interested and taking a class that is not really, offered at a high school level. We also have a careers week, which was wonderful last year. We had our first one last year, and I got a lot of positive feedback from the students and learning more about what goes on in a day-to-day job, right? And also understanding what the job market is looking for in candidates. So all of that, I think, together with the curriculum makes up the university guidance program.
Thank you, Leanne. The next question really, it's something that we get asked a lot, okay? Basically, can you just give us an idea of where our alumni, St. Nicholas alumni, studying, and what are the percentages of learning studying in Brazil and abroad, please?
Yeah, that's a great question. So at St. Nicholas, in its history, we've had 20 different country destinations. You can see the list on the slide there, anywhere from all of North and South America, Canada, US, Mexico, Argentina, Colombia, Chile, many countries in Europe, including the UK, Spain, France, Portugal, Switzerland, Belgium, and also Asia, Japan, South Korea, Singapore. We've had students also go to Australia, South Africa. So we really are proud of our global learners and where they are going around the world. Next slide, please. And here you can see the rough percentages of where St. Nicholas graduates are going. Each cohort is can be quite different in terms of the percentages. So I've given you all a range here. For the US, each year it can range from 15 to 30%, Canada 5 to 10%, Brazil 20 to 30%, the UK 15 to 25, Asia 10 to 15, and the EU 10 to 20%. I believe that for sure for the EU, our applications have increased a lot because of the advantages of applying to the EU if you have EU nationality and getting the benefits of paying domestic tuition. So that's one trend I've seen, at least at our school.
Great, thank you. I think the next question is it's very much tied to the one that came before, and I say again one of the popular questions: which are the universities that our learners have been accepted to? Can you show us a little bit about that, please?
Yes, please take a look at our class of 2021 university acceptances. So on this first slide, we have the UK, the US, and the EU. Just to clarify, the numbers in brackets are the number of students who were accepted, and the asterisks are the number of learners who are attending at those institutions. So for example, in the UK, City University of London, 2 students applied and were accepted, but 1 has matriculated. So just to clarify those stars and those numbers. So I'll give you a moment to take a look at that. Thank you. And here we have Japan, Australia, Canada, and Brazil. Again, I think in total that's what, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 8 countries where our students have applied to and are now studying at. So we're really proud of the global mindedness of our learners and them really finding the best fit for themselves.
Yes, thank you, Lee. And that's definitely one of the strengths that we see, you know, the variety of places our learners are choosing together with the families. And we're very happy, like you said, you know, proud that we are enabling our students to go to the places that they choose to go. It is very reassuring to see that. Thank you. I know the next question I'm going to ask, I'm going to preface it by saying briefly, because this is not really a very brief process, but I'm going to try to make it as brief as possible. Can you briefly explain the application processes for St. Nicholas's most popular country destinations, please? I am aware that here not all of the processes can be addressed, but can you just at least give us an idea of what one of these processes can entail, please? Thank you.
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, as you mentioned, right, it is quite complex, but I want to give you a snapshot, okay, of the general application requirements, because even within one country, the requirements can and will change between universities. So in the United States, you are applying a year in advance. You have, in general, an unlimited amount of applications that you can send. What's included in the application? In general, your transcript from years 9 to 12, teacher recommendations, also my recommendation as a counselor. You're going to write about your extracurriculars. You will also probably have college essays to write. We will be sending the IB anticipated grades. The last couple of years, there hasn't been standardized testing required for the vast majority of universities due to the pandemic, but that is the normal standard in the US. And then also English proficiency, which most of our learners are able to waive this requirement due to their background and their experience with English. In the UK, you also apply a year in advance. You have a maximum of 5 universities or courses that you can apply to on UCAS, which is the central application system. It's much simpler in that you are sending your anticipated grades. You're going to have one letter of recommendation focused on the course that you're applying to. So that's one major difference between the US and the UK. The UK, you're applying to a specific course. In the US, you're generally applying to the university, so they're not going to evaluate you based on the course that you have chosen. And you actually don't have to choose until your second year. You also will write a personal statement about the course that you want to apply to and why you are prepared for it. And then again, English proficiency, which majority of our students are able to waive. In Brazil, many of you will probably know, but the application process is much shorter in terms of when you will apply, only a few months in advance. You'll need your histórico escolar, your certificado de ensino médio, your anticipated grades, and possibly a CV, motivational letter, or interview. Now, this is considering students who are applying as IB students, not the vestibular, but if they were to do the vestibular, that would basically replace the IB anticipated grades. And in the Netherlands, which is becoming a very popular destination, you're going to apply 6 months to 1 year in advance. You can have 4 active applications maximum on the Study Link central application system. There's also the transcript that you need to send of your final grades, your IB anticipated grades, a motivational letter or CV, and English proficiency. So that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you, Leanne. That was a good job, because it's a lot of information. But thank you for that. Thank you for doing that. All right, thank you very much. I now have, okay, let's go. We have some questions. I'm going to be reading these questions. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you have more questions, write them down. We have time to answer these questions. So I'm just going to start reading the first one. It reads like this, Leanne. Nowadays, with so many career options, some that do not yet exist formally, how can we parents help our kids to explore those options?
Great, thank you so much. This is definitely a big question for a lot of families, for students as well. I think I mentioned that, or maybe not, but I was talking to the year 10s today about the fact that there is a lot of unknown in the future. There are a lot of careers and jobs that are emerging now, and some that we still don't know about. And that obviously can build up a lot of anxiety for not only our students, but our families. And not only from the Careers Week event, which we had, but also with our partnering universities, we've also discussed this unknown and the fact that not knowing is okay, right? What's really, really important is that our students graduate with the skills to be able to adapt to any new careers and jobs that are coming out. So if they have the, the traits of being able to be adaptable, to be able to be committed, are they going to be able to communicate well with their colleagues and with their clients? Those soft skills, which we call, are kind of in some ways more essential than sometimes the specific degree that you are studying. So that's, I think, one tip or one thing to consider. But there are actually, and we do have some presentations where we talk about some of the new and upcoming careers. And as I mentioned with our tools, they actually also show which ones are more in demand or which ones are upcoming. So a lot of our learners are aware that obviously tech is huge in the world of today. And so I know we have one student who graduated last year studying data science, and I know that he's very much interested in working with a lot of these new jobs that are coming out. But I think that and also allowing students to explore different activities. So I always talk about and I share activities and summer programs that are happening. And a lot of universities are already meeting this demand by saying, okay, you can check out this possible course in data science or in AI or in, I don't know, this type of digital marketing. And so students then have the chance to explore those options that you don't really get, in the curriculum in high school. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Lian. Yes, yes. It's obviously keeping an open mind is very important. Not to try to box yourself in when you're very young. To say when you are, I don't know, 12 or 13, oh, I want to study medicine or my life will end. I think keeping it open, making sure that you explore different areas, that you don't kind of marry yourself to a career early on, and that's the only thing you want to do. Ms. Lian said, that a smart application will go a long way as well, not just having have the greatest grades, but a smart application will also help. So thank you for that, Lian. Here's another question: why our kids are not applying for federal or public universities in Brazil? Normally they are the best and well-known universities.
Thank you for that question. I think that, as I mentioned before, I'm always working with the students based on what their interests are. The vast majority of our learners who are planning on studying here in Brazil are leaning towards a lot of the private universities like FGV, INSPER. A lot of them are focused on business. So I think that's one of the reasons. But again, we are not telling the students where to apply. They're aware of, what the strong programs are based on the course that they're interested in. And if that's, their focus, then they can apply to the public universities in Brazil.
Thank you. And that's very important. We don't tell our students or families where to apply. They apply where they think it's best for them. And that may or may not include a particular university. So that's something that everybody needs to know, that we're not encouraging them to apply to any particular university or any particular country. So these choices that Ms. Lian presented, they are a reflection of that. Thank you for that.
Sorry,
Lian,
Marcelo. I'm just going to say one more thing. The other thing to consider is that because we are an IB school and our students have the IB diploma, at the moment, and I think for the foreseeable future, it's most of the private universities that are going to offer admission via IB. So it's been wonderful to see our learners use their IB diploma and then apply and enter into Brazilian universities. So that's just one other thing I wanted to mention.
Thank you, Lian. Here's another question. It says, can you give us a list of courses from the universities that the kids are attending from the ones who passed, I suppose the ones who have successfully applied, I imagine? Yeah.
So I think that, I don't have one prepared at the moment, but we can certainly send one afterwards, okay? After the meeting is over and we prepare the document. But one thing to consider is that, for example, in the US and Canada, the students are applying to a specific course. So in the UK and the Netherlands, though, yes, they're applying to a specific course. So that can range from engineering to political science to international relations, psychology. Did I mention engineering? Computer science. Those are definitely some of our most popular majors and courses that they apply to. We also have students who apply for nutrition. I think we heard communication, right? Marketing is also really popular. So I'm happy to send that list along afterwards. But those are most of the main popular courses that our students are taking.
Thank you, Lian. Just to add to that, I think it's very important for you to know that our students are choosing a range of courses, and that is, again, very interesting. From medical science all the way across to political, to world politics, international relations. I was very happy to see two of my students in my literature course last year go to the Netherlands to study international relations, for example. I was wonderful to see that, exactly what I wanted to study. So I think, again, when you mentioned that we are proud to see our students go away to these universities, we're also proud to see the range and variety of careers that they can choose, because that's what they want to study. So it really goes all the way from medical science. Remember, we have those girls studying medical science in Edinburgh, a wonderful university, and then we have students studying communication. So yes, but we can add that list, of course. Thank you. Here's not a question, but we have some congratulations. Beautiful testimonials. Congratulations, Miss Leanne. Of course, congratulations, Miss Leanne. Here's another question. US colleges don't offer domestic fees for US citizens living abroad. Can the IB program help with this?
Okay, that's a really interesting question, actually. So I will break that up. It's true, for example, in the US, for public universities, state universities, let's say the University of California, University of Washington, where I'm from, they have a difference between in-state and out-of-state tuition. So actually, discriminate against those who are outside of the state, right? Because each state has their own funding for the people who live there. So for example, if someone applies to the University of Washington, but they're not from the state of Washington, then they also wouldn't qualify for the in-state tuition. That would apply to the same for international students. However, US citizens are able to apply for federal financial aid. That is going to be based on the family's income, the family's need, as opposed to where they are living. So, for example, we have American citizens at St. Nicholas, and if they qualify, they can apply for federal financial aid at any university in the US. The IB program has nothing to do with the tuition fees. However, something that I mentioned in the last webinar is that the IB diploma is considered college level work in the US, and therefore, depending on the university and the subject grades and requirements, a student can use their IB results and apply them to take college credits. So college credits are basically based on what's required to graduate from a major at a university. So each class may be 4 credits. So if a student took English and got a 5 out of 7 in IB, higher level, one university may say, oh, great, that takes care of one college level class. And that means that you can move on to the more advanced level coursework. And then that equals money, right? Because I know of many universities whose requirements or whose policies allow IB diploma graduates to basically take off a whole year of studies based on their IB results. And having a year of free tuition, or let's say a year taken off, is really significant for anybody.
Indeed, thank you very much. We have another question. I think this is the last question we have time for, and it's a very interesting question. Is it common to have an interest in music and art courses? And if yes, in which countries?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. So what I understand from your question is that whether or not there are, good quality courses in music and arts, I would say that absolutely. I know that, There are definitely certain universities around the world that are really well respected and renowned for their music and arts, especially conservatories. I think people have heard of Juilliard and Berkeley in the US. Those are really well known. So I do know, at least from our music teacher, because I've had this discussion as well, that for these types of courses and even theater, a lot of students are looking to go abroad because of the opportunities for that area, right? Not to say that Brazil isn't rich in music and arts, but depending on what focus of their, what their aspirations are. I know of some students who want to produce music, right? And compose, others who want to perform in theater. And especially if you want to do that in English, well, going abroad is definitely going to be the best option. So it does really depend on the individual, but absolutely, we have students who are taking music and arts courses, both here in Brazil and abroad.
Yes, thank you, Leanne. In fact, I mean, Daniela Mafi, who gave a testimony, she's studying communications there in Calgary University, for example, along those lines. So yes, there are wonderful art courses, both in the UK, in America, if you want an English-speaking world, and also in Holland, which is becoming so very popular. Oh, we have another question. Oh, no, that's just congratulations from Phil. Thank you, Phil. Appreciate that. Thank you so much, Mr. Havanal, Ms. Leanne. Another great and very instructional webinar. Thank you. This is what we do. So thank you very much for those congratulations, Phil. This is all the time we have. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with us on another webinar. Your questions were fantastic. We really hope that we've answered some of those questions and that you have a more perhaps a clear review of our processes. Of course, we're here. We don't hide. We are in school. We're there. You can schedule meetings with Ms. Leanne, with Saulo, with myself, so we can further clarify and work with you in this very important process. So thank you very much. And thank you, Leanne, again. Wonderful information that you gave us. Very clear. Really enjoyed it. Thank you very much again. And thank you, everybody, for attending this webinar.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good night. Thank you very much.